Hello everyone, and welcome to my video on the Platinum Nock fountain pen. This one is produced in I think 1965 and 66, but I'll put some resources in the description. As you can see, I have two of these models. One of them is not retracting, and online there are pretty much no resources for repairing, and I think this is an issue that I've seen other people have. Though it's been said on a few websites it's not possible to disassemble, when I'm looking at it, you can see those notches on the, it's either brass or copper, I'm going to say brass, on the brass area. And what I've bought is two aluminium tubes to try and make a tool to be able to unscrew that. The aluminium tube that I'm currently working on is a 10mm outer diameter with a, I think it's 0.45 millimeters width, tube width. A couple of places show a demonstrator version of this pen, and on the demonstrator version you can see the threads on the inside of the barrel of the pen where most likely, well, where this brass piece screws into. So that's why I think this tool will work. Here I'm attempting to unscrew it, and as you can see, the nib unit retracted.
Okay.
This one also, obviously the clip is not there. And at this point I also noticed that the door on these pens that holds the front, similar on a vanishing point, is not here. So this pen is a great opportunity to try disassembly before trying it on the other model that I have, which is in better condition.
Okay.
I'd rather destroy one that's broken than one that isn't. Here come the internals, and I spent a lot of time trying to work out how this works, and I know where the issue is, where it's not retracting. It's because that piece is getting stuck there. I don't find, obviously, between, there's two models of this pen, and between the two models, the difference is in the clip, though this one is missing a clip, so I don't know which model it is, but when I disassemble the other model, the internals are different, so presumably this one here is the first model, and then the next is the second one. So it's getting stuck there, which is why it's not retracting. And I spent a bit of time trying to loosen it and that sort of thing, but I'm trying to figure out, when you pull it, to get it over, when the brass piece is pulled back, it should open up those tines so that it can then slip forward. But, I'm trying to figure out how it works because there's nothing there that makes that happen. Here is the pen disassembled. Second model. The first, as you can see, it kind of works, but it's, it's not very smooth, and the spring feels kind of air. Initially I tried pulling out the back cap. On the previous one of the pieces was friction fit, so I tried pulling off the back cap, but on this one the tool can actually go over all these components, whereas on the other one I don't think it could. So I actually was able to unscrew. I was a bit cautious about pulling on this, but you know, obviously most of this is out. The brass piece is unscrewed. And I just need to give it an okay pull there. This comparison of the internals, that's the piece that I said was friction fit. And you can sort of see how this one works. Pulling back that brass piece, it clips in there. I'm just trying to figure out how it works at this point. So with the brass piece in the pen is actually set in position because it's screwed in, and it is the nib unit that's moving. So when I'm moving the brass piece, it's equivalent to, if I move the brass piece back, it's equivalent to pushing the nib unit forward. Looking at how this mechanism actually works, you have the brass piece on the outside, and there's a ring around where it is placed right now. So I think initially the brass piece clips into that extra space, but this ring can move around. So when you click on the pen again, the brass piece moves back like that, goes onto the ring, and then the ring can slide forward, creating, you know, that space for this piece to come back in. So that is how this mechanism is working. And on the first pen, there was no brass ring like that. There was no ring, so no wonder it was getting stuck so often. Now, I think that makes sense because the piece behind that ring was friction fit. Someone probably lost it at some point. Now looking at the surface of the nib unit, the part I was just scraping my finger on felt like it was lubricated with some sort of grease, but sort of underneath the ring is dirty, and where the spring was is also quite dirty. I'm thinking it might be graphite. So I think to improve the functionality of this pen, all it needs is some lubrication. Cleaning and then lubricating and then put back together. But, you know, generally I don't think you mix graphite and grease, so I'm not quite sure which one to use. So I think I'll be, hopefully if anyone in the comments has a suggestion, that would be great. Otherwise I'll probably put a post on Fountain Pen Network, probably Reddit as well, something. And yeah. Considering that now I've put up this image of the demonstrator, it does not really look dirty inside. So maybe all the black powder, which was dried ink, kind of doubt it considering the nib was pretty clean. Maybe it was someone who threw in graphite, you know, when it started underperforming. So I'm leaning towards cleaning it and then silicone. But again, I'm not going to do that just yet because, you know, I'd rather know the right thing to do first. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you found it informative. And anyone else having trouble with their platinum knock, hopefully it inspires you to take it apart and try improve its functionality.